Coach Kurt. We're going to talk about the best martial arts for police officers. Because let's face it, the control tactics programs that most departments use fall extremely short. 8, 10, 12, maybe 20 hours a year. Every once in a while, I hear about a department that trains monthly, and then it's a unicorn. You'll find a department that has weekly training for their officers. It takes a lot of time and money to do that, so a lot of departments just won't go there. They just don't have the budget for it. So if you want to have good martial arts training, you have to do it on your own. Well, that I have a strong background in Hapkido, Taiho Jutsu. I've done Kaiju Kembo. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right now. You guys get the idea. I have a pretty wide variety of martial arts to draw from. I've cross-trained with a lot of people, from Muay Thai stylists, boxers, Jeet Kune Do, Filipino martial artists, and it's been my experience that grappling in general, I'm not going to say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because there's other things out there that can be just as good, but grappling in general is probably the best thing to learn in law enforcement. Why? Well, you have a large range of things you have to be able to do. Joint manipulation and basic control holds, stuff like that. Somebody's resisting, but they're not like trying to actively get away or beat you up or something of that nature. Or, to the other extreme, somebody is trying to take your gun, disarm you, or knock you out, or beat you up. So when you're controlling somebody to arrest them, sir, you're under arrest, and you grab their wrist and they try to pull away or throw a punch, you have to be able to respond to that and be able to then dial it back down to a reasonable level of force. You can't keep it dialed up. You're absolutely able to rise to the occasion, use a good throw, takedown, and you absolutely need to train those type of techniques. But you also need to train the more subtle takedowns. But at the end of the day, when you are trying to arrest somebody who is bigger than you, stronger than you, more athletic than you, and they do not want to be arrested, you're going to have to use force. And it's not going to be pretty. It's never pretty. It's never like in the movies. When a police officer uses force, you got crowds that gather, people screaming and yelling. The cop has to also have the training and the mindset to stay out of their lizard brain. Here on screen, you see a perfect example of that. This officer is a lot of things going on around him. He takes the guy down. You've got other officers tussling with other people at the same time. And you've got Joe Citizen, who's probably drunk and trying to get up in your grill, like, what are you doing, police brutality, that kind of crap. I've had it all, I've heard it all. And you have to be able to stay out of your lizard brain, control the suspect who doesn't want to be arrested and could be doing everything from just trying to get up to trying to bite you or gouge your eyes or take your gun. The level of response has to be appropriate, and you're not going to get that with 8 hours of training a year. You have to train weekly. Well, I've already said that grappling systems, and we'll say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because that is super common. You can't go in any major city or even medium to small size city. Generally speaking, you'll find at least one Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school. So that's a great resource. If you have the option, cross-train. I teach Taiho Jitsu. I teach control tactics combatives to my law enforcement brothers and sisters for my agency, but on the side, I teach Taiho Jitsu, which is a martial art based on arresting techniques. That's the whole concept. I again train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm even beginning to cross train in Danzanryu, which is Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. I have a lot of love and respect for Japanese Jiu-Jitsu in general, as long as it's trained correctly. But you get the idea. Cross-train if you can. The problem is you're working 50-plus hours a week as a cop, weird hours. By the time you get home, you may not be physically wiped out, but you are mentally wiped out. The day in the life of a police officer can be complete boredom and then complete chaos for 20, 30 minutes, and then boredom again. It's all over the place. And let's face it, it's a bad time in the world to be a police officer. All departments are shorthanded. So that completely affects how much time the department's going to give you to train. So, to circle back to where I started from, you're going to have to do this on your own. Should you have to pay for it out of your own pocket? No. Taxpayer expects you to have training, and the department should be responsible for that training. But if not, if you cannot get it, and 99% of the time you will not be able to get it from your department in an adequate amount, you're going to have to find something. I recommend something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I recommend a Japanese Jiu-Jitsu if you can find the correct kind of school. Some can be from one extreme. I'll use something like Aikido as an example, and I always get people upset with me because they think I'm picking on it, and I kind of am. From one extreme where it's very formal, very standardized, systematic, and almost academic, to the other extreme where it's very similar to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and mixed martial arts, the way they train. And when I say that, and I've said that in other videos, I'm not suggesting that you're beating each other up. You can absolutely safely train stuff like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, blah, 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 any of these combat sports, Judo, Sambo. You can absolutely train this stuff safely. It all boils down to the school that you are able to find. Do they have a safe program? Or is it cutthroat? Everybody's trying to tap each other out, and it's not for the masses. It's for the athletic youngin that wants to be a tournament champion, or the youngin who wants to be the next MMA, UFC superstar. If you can, I absolutely recommend something like your Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Tends to lean more towards Jiu-Jitsu for self-defense, especially the lineage out of Torrance, California, Huron and Henner. You get the idea. If you can find a Gracie certified training center, this is terrific. The Pedro Sauer is another lineage of Jiu-Jitsu that very much focuses on self-defense. Obviously, the Hicks and Gracie and the Hoist Gracie lineages of Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, focuses more on self-defense and punch defense and so forth. Unfortunately, a lot of schools, even though it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, tend to be extremely sport-oriented. And then you personally will have to make the transition to like, okay, now is this something I can do when somebody's trying to punch me, or is this a very sporty move? So you run into all these roadblocks when you're trying to find the proper system, and I'm juggling them all the time. Again, I teach Taiho Jitsu, a very modernized, modern police concepts method of Taiho Jitsu. That's because you just have to in this day and age. But I practice on my own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and now I'm beginning to dabble in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and so forth. Guys, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, and share. And let me know what system you train in if you are in law enforcement or security or that type of thing. Thanks.
Rookie. Judgment.
Vagrancy, 3 weeks ISO cubes, but prioritize murders?
Correct. Don't be here when we get back.
Yes, thanks, Judge.
Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out.